It's no secret that Blackbeard has achieved everything he ever wanted. But what if I told you he's not the one who designed this plan? In a few minutes, I'll reveal the character who taught a young Blackbeard every taboo secret he knows about the world. This plan started when Teach asked to join the Whitebeard Pirates when he was only 12 years old at the time. Later, we learned that his reason for joining Whitebeard was very specific. He wanted to use the crew to search for the Yami Yami no Mi. He stayed in the shadows and lived as just another crewmate for 26 years. There is simply no way that an orphan 12-year-old Teach could have learned the secrets of the world on his own, including knowledge about a legendary devil fruit, and then come up with such a long-term plan by himself. Even if we assume Teach was unusually clever, even if he learned about the Yami Yami no Mi from the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia, and even if we assume a child could wait patiently for 26 years without knowing if it would ever succeed, it still doesn't fully make sense because of what he accomplished in the next 2 years. Right after leaving the Whitebeard Pirates, he went after Luffy and then Ace, planning to capture one of them so he could become a Shichibukai. This would allow him to invade Impel Down and recruit the world's most dangerous criminals into his crew. On the very same day, he appeared at Marineford, killed Whitebeard, and stole the strongest Paramecia devil fruit in existence. At this point, it's no longer shocking that Teach knows how to steal devil fruits or how to consume a second one. The real question is, when did he learn this? He spent the last 26 years on Whitebeard's ship. If he had learned this method there, other members of the crew would know about it as well, but they don't. He is the only one, which means he learned it before joining the crew. And that is one of the many reasons why I am 100% sure that Blackbeard was influenced by someone else. To understand this, we have to start with his father, Rox D. Xebec. Rox D. Xebec was a legendary pirate and one of the best written characters we've seen in the story so far. He commanded the strongest crew in the series, achieved incredible feats like confronting Imo at Marijois, killing an admiral, and even destroying the Gates of Justice. He knew countless secrets of the world government and was the central figure of the God Valley incident. Yes, he is incredibly impressive, but how did he truly affect the story? Did anything massively change in the current timeline after his reveal? No, at least not yet. Every legendary pirate leaves something behind. Roger found the One Piece and started the Great Pirate Era. Whitebeard confirmed that the One Piece truly exists. The Roger pirates are still carrying out their missions, which I talked about in my previous video, and so on. And it's not even about massive changes. One of the most common themes in One Piece is that characters sacrifice themselves for the future. Saul was ready to die to save Robin. Pedro sacrificed himself to save the Straw Hats. Harold died for Elbaf and entrusted Loki with its future, and so on. Rox did the exact same thing. He gave up on his dreams and goals to protect his family. But the truth is, even though he did it out of love, he also placed his trust in the next generation. He made his final bet on the last member of the Davy clan, Teach. Blackbeard is the one who carries Davy Jones's will. Teach follows in his father's footsteps, and their goals and similarities are so perfectly aligned that some theories even suggested that Rox was inside Blackbeard's body, continuing his own plan. But we know that Rox died at God Valley, and Teach was only 2 years old at the time. He shouldn't remember him. So how does Teach know about Rox's ambition to conquer the world? How does he know his methods, his goals, or the hidden secrets of the world? Because someone we saw at God Valley taught young Blackbeard everything that Rox had discovered about the world. But before I reveal who this person is, I want to show you more clues about Teach's childhood. We've seen many childhood flashbacks or drawings in One Piece, and one thing is clear. Kids at that age usually don't think about power. Most of the time, they just want to survive a traumatic life. Sanji is the perfect example to show you what I mean. Teach learned about the Yami Yami no Mi through the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia, a book that Sanji also had access to as a child. But the fruit Sanji wanted was the Suke Suke no Mi, a devil fruit that grants invisibility. It was played as a joke in Thriller Bark that he wanted it to spy on women in the bath, but I believe the real reason was much darker. Sanji was treated so badly that he simply wanted to disappear, and that makes sense. Kids at that age usually want a devil fruit that would fix their problems or grant their personal desires. So why did Teach want the Yami Yami no Mi? If he only wanted strength or destructive power, he could have chosen countless other devil fruits, like Kizaru's Pika Pika no Mi or Whitebeard's Gura Gura no Mi. The list is endless. But no, he chose a devil fruit that nullifies other devil fruits, a power that seems to be directly connected to Rox's plan to defeat Imu. Why would a 12-year-old kid want something like that? And why was he so sure that no one in the world had already eaten that fruit? Sanji's dream fruit, for example, was already eaten by Absalom. Why would Teach spend over 20 years chasing a wish or dream he had at the age of 12? Of course, anything's possible, but I'm sure you'll agree that this raises a lot of questions. Even the fact that an orphan child had access to a devil fruit encyclopedia feels strange. At least in Sanji's case, he was born into one of the strongest families in the world, so it makes sense. Another detail I noticed is that when Oda shows the childhood of One Piece characters, their personalities usually stay the same in the future. Scratchman Apu loved music from the start and was always playful. Eustace Kid was smiling and fascinated by machines. Garp was already like Luffy. We even see him riding a beaten tiger, and old Garp is still exactly the same. Hawkins loved tarot cards, and so on. The same applies to villains. Look at Doflamingo. He was cruel from the very beginning. Kaido's childhood made it clear he would never become a peaceful civilian. Big Mom may have had a relatively safe childhood, but her design alone, especially her eyes and teeth, already show that she would lose control someday. The same goes for Akainu. I could go on forever, because Oda's attention to detail is incredible. But when you look at Teach's childhood, something feels different. He doesn't look like a future villain at all. He feels like a completely different person. If you forget everything you know about Blackbeard, you could even imagine him as someone Luffy would save, just like Usopp, Nami, or others. Teach's childhood drawing being so different doesn't feel like a mistake to me. He was shown sitting under the moon and crying, which is the complete opposite of the Blackbeard we know today. And interestingly, it reminds me of Shanks crying after his conversation with Roger. Blackbeard and Shanks are polar opposites, yet at the same time they share many similarities. Shanks tries to maintain balance in the world, while Blackbeard thrives on chaos. Every member of Blackbeard's crew relies on devil fruits, while the red-haired pirates depend almost entirely on haki. This contrast is shown even in small details. Shanks accepts pain in silence, even when he loses an arm. Blackbeard, because of the pain amplification caused by his devil fruit, screams and overreacts every time he's injured. The reason Shanks was crying after speaking with Roger is that Roger gave him a mission. As Copper Gaban said, Shanks was a child of destiny. That's why Shanks refused to sail with Buggy. And even without that emotional moment, Shanks' entire life feels like a mission after Roger reached Laugh Tale. After that day, Shanks gathered his own crew, joined the Holy Knights, collected information, stole the Gomu Gomu no Mi, and even his relationship with Luffy feels like part of that mission. This became especially clear after Luffy awakened his devil fruit and Shanks told Ben Beckman that it was time to go and claim the One Piece. Now, of course, we don't know the exact reason why Blackbeard was crying as a child, but imagine someone telling you that your entire life must follow a plan, that you have a destiny to fulfill. No matter how perfect the plan is or how satisfying the final goal might be, you would cry too. Just like Shanks, Blackbeard's life also feels like a mission. Joining a powerful crew, finding a specific devil fruit, building his own crew, becoming a Yonko, conquering Hachinosu, and moving step by step toward his goal. As I said, Blackbeard was 12 years old. Shanks was a kid as well. When Roger reached Laugh Tale, Shanks was around 14. They were just children, and being told that you must carry someone else's will for the rest of your life is not exactly happy news for a kid. Roger learned the full truth after reaching Laugh Tale and understood that someone, Shanks in this case, had to carry this mission on his shoulders. In the same way, Rox learned the secrets of the world, and even though he couldn't fully realize his plan, he passed his knowledge down to his son through his wife. Yes, I'm confident that Blackbeard's mother, Eris, is behind all of this, and I'll show you why. Oda foreshadowed everything with just a single panel. Have you noticed the reactions of people after seeing Rox, Herald, and the Giants in their demonic forms? Not even the strongest characters, Loki, Big Mom, Garp, or Roger, understood what was happening. They were completely confused. Shanks, however, knew what was going on, since he had lived in Marijua and understood the concept of contracts. But surprisingly, Eris understood it too. Just by looking at Rox, she immediately realized what had happened. She realized that Rox had lost. She also said that she knew Rox wasn't ready to face Imu yet, but how? Other legendary pirates didn't even know who or what Imu was. What makes this even more interesting is that Eris didn't even know Imu was present at God Valley. She had separated from Rox when he chose to fight Garling alone, and the next time she saw him, he was already in his demonic form. Yet within seconds, she understood everything, while legendary pirates like Roger and Big Mom had no idea why Rox was attacking them. That single single panel confirms that Eris knew about Rox's plans and possessed the same knowledge about the world, emu, and devil fruits. First of all, they were a family, so that alone makes sense, but there's also a strong chance that Rox told Eris everything in case something happened to him. Eris is not just a random character from God Valley. In her brief introduction, Oda reveals that she was a pirate, and a ruthless one, as she was even ready to kill her own child and herself to avoid torture by the celestial dragons. We don't know where Goat Kuma sent them, but if it wasn't Marie-Joie, then I believe she could survive anywhere. The fact that Teach is still alive proves that. Eris shares her name with the Greek goddess of strife and discord, the daughter of Nyx, the primordial goddess of the night. This perfectly fits the idea that she was the one who introduced Blackbeard to the darkness devil fruit. Her name also appeared on one of Emu's magic circles, Eris D. Tar. I don't believe that's a coincidence, especially since these chapters were released only 2 months apart. We don't yet know what happened, and that's a topic for another video, but there's a real possibility that Eris was also killed by the world government. That would give Blackbeard yet another reason to hate them. Still, this is One Piece. If we don't see a body, there's always room for doubt. Even when death seems unavoidable, Oda has surprised us before. Pell survived, Saul returned, Sabo is alive, and there are many more examples. In short, I'm convinced that Eris will become an important character in the future, at the very least in Blackbeard's story. If all of this is true, then Blackbeard's entire journey makes much more sense. My point is to not underestimate Teach. He's clearly very intelligent, but this plan feels far too perfect for a 12-year-old child to come up with on his own. If Eris was the one who transferred Rox's knowledge to her son, it would perfectly explain how Blackbeard already knew the secrets of the world at such a young age. He wasn't born a genius with all this information. It would also mean that there was no hidden mastermind manipulating Teach from the shadows, no mysterious figure using him as a pawn. Instead, it was his mother passing down everything Rox had learned. This gives Rox's life and choices even greater meaning. He chose his family over his own dreams and ambitions, and in the end, that decision is exactly what allowed his will, and Davy Jones's will, to live on. The entire family was needed for this plan to succeed. Rox spent his life uncovering the secrets of the world and building the foundation. Eris saved Teach and taught him everything, and Teach himself had the dedication to execute the plan. Even if Blackbeard had most of the answers, it still wasn't easy to achieve everything so perfectly. Many people know what they need to do, yet fail for countless reasons. Teach didn't. His dedication is what brought him to where he is today. Just imagine waiting 26 years for a devil fruit without even knowing if you would ever get it. There was no magic involved and no 200 IQ mastermind pulling the strings. It was very logical. Every member of this family did their part so Teach could come this close to defeating Emu. Now let's talk about Blackbeard's next steps and how Rox's knowledge will help him move forward. So far, Teach has achieved everything he ever wanted, and I won't list those achievements again. His next target seems to be Marie-Joie, which I already mentioned in one of my previous videos. And we also know one important detail. Marie-Joie is currently in flames. So what does Rox and everything I've explained so far have to do with the current attack on the Holy Land? An attack like this cannot be spontaneous. It requires careful planning. The Revolutionary Army infiltrated Marie-Joie by exploiting the Reverie. Rox did the same thing 56 years ago. But right now, there is no major event taking place in the Holy Land. In fact, after the chaos caused by the last Reverie, Marie-Joie should be more heavily guarded than ever. They're already dealing with the Revolutionary Army, so security should be at its highest level. And yet, we are told that the Holy Land is burning and that Shamrock was urgently summoned. This strongly suggests that they were caught off guard once again. And that doesn't happen without a plan. There are only two real possibilities, Monkey D. Dragon or Blackbeard. And I don't believe it's Dragon for two simple reasons. First, his army is nowhere near strong enough to defeat the Holy Knights alone. They have 0 confirmed users of Conqueror's Haki, and we already know that Conqueror's Haki is required to damage the Holy Knights. Second, Marie-Joie being engulfed in flames feels far more like Teach's style than Dragon's. On top of that, the last time we saw Blackbeard, he ordered Lafette to prepare. Prepare for what? At the same time, Marie-Joie was already suffering from chaos due to food supply shortages, and Blackbeard always strikes when the world is in chaos. The Blackbeard pirates can also infiltrate the Holy Land far more easily than Dragon. Lafette has already done it once without anyone noticing, most likely thanks to his devil fruit. It was literally his introduction, and let me remind you that it was done before the time skip. He was already powerful enough to do that. Van Augur can teleport himself and others, which alone makes infiltration way easier. Katarina Devon has copied Saturn's appearance with her devil fruit and may even be able to use his abyss mark. The possibilities are endless. I believe Eris also told Blackbeard about the secrets of Marie-Joie. As I mentioned earlier, Rox used the Reverie 56 years ago to infiltrate the Holy Land. He even encountered Emu and killed an admiral. And of course he didn't do that for fun. He certainly wasn't trying to scare Emu either. He must have gathered something, information, an object, or knowledge meant to be used later. Sadly for us, that knowledge can no longer help Rox. But through Eris, Teach inherited it, and he will use it perfectly. I believe he'll use it to begin the hunting games among the celestial dragons in Marie-Joie. If you want to know more about this idea, you can click this video right here. Thanks for watching. Bye.